What's going on, Max? Greetings from Cincinnati. I put a little video together for you. We're going to start with some foam rolling exercises. It's just maybe 5 minutes of that. Band work you can do with a partner. Kind of all this stuff you can do with a partner. There's some pros to that too. And then I'm going to just show you kind of 1 or 2 movements. You can do either one arm at a time or double arm. Probably recommend the single arm first. And then just an extra stretch there to help you not only get those shoulders up and overhead, but behind the back, you know, if you're reaching, all of that stuff, and making sure we're doing that, we're not compensating from this. Now, when in the water and you need to get the job done, obviously do what you got to do. But in training, we really want to lock the lumbar spine down. The spine has different regions, lumbar spine, lower back. I want to lock that down because I want to force that upper back, your thoracic spine, to be flexible and extensive and be able to rotate, because that's where a lot of that upper back shoulder mobility comes from. So we want to force that adaptation by locking this down through all the exercises we do. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's dive in. All right, so first one you can do here, we're going to work a couple different ones. It's a thoracic, so your upper back. So the thoracic basically spine is where your shoulder blades are kind of moving around. So this is really just like a good gentle warm up. So all you're going to do is put it up through there, kind of stay below the trap, right on that thoracic. You can go first, arms crossed. Now when doing this, think about not letting that lower back arch too much, kind of pick that pelvis up. So this is really just like a good warm up. What we then can do, you can cross your arms each way, you know, kind of work around on the sides there. What I like to then do is starting here and trying to pull back. So hands pulling back, this would be like reaching back behind you. But notice I'm not letting myself compensate through my lower back. I'm pulling my ribs down, right? You can be here. If you have a partner, they can even kind of pull back on you or push down. You could also do it yourself, right? Just keep in there. It's like you're reaching back, you know, reaching for cords behind you. You could go your other side. You could go back there and then kind of lock it in and kind of roll around on that lat. Again, just locking down that pelvis. Basically, you just want to be careful that the lumbar spine isn't going into extension to compensate for your lack of extension and flexion in the upper spine. So that's something you can do. The next one here, we're going to go with more of just lat. So a tight lat, tight tricep, it's going to stop you. So what I like doing here, just ease into this one. This one can be a little nasty if you've never done it. So I typically will reach out and I'll just kind of roll. Like I feel my lat here. I might roll across, which, you know, I'm not like on my rib. I'm like right where the lat meets the rib, but that's pretty nasty, and I'll feel it all through there. I'll even go into a side stretch here. Again, kind of just pulling, stretching out through there, all that to get that. I can go into the back of the shoulder, like the rear delt. I can roll through the tricep. Again, I can put it in that stretch position. I can roll laterally. That feels pretty nasty. All through there are great ways to like warm up that soft tissue. So next we're then going to go into, so this is something that I would do, like you could roll around for 5 minutes and really work that area, and really with a partner is helpful if they can get your hands back and you guys can switch. And then next we're going to go with some banded exercises. You can do these with a partner, but if you don't have a partner, banded is great, and they're just some more stretching that you can do before we get into more our movement-based dynamic strength work. All right, so next one we're going to do here, so we've done the foam rolling stuff. What I would then like to do is go into more of like a band. Again, this might take 5 to 10 minutes. I usually do this either before or after, kind of depends on what your time allows. So a couple things, when we're looking for overhead ability to reach through there, we always want to think about not allowing ourselves, like if I'm stuck here, I could arch my lower back and I could get back there, right? If that's your only option and you're underwater, yeah, of course you're gonna have to, but you're gonna have tanks on you. It's not gonna be super feasible. So you wanna practice locking this rib down, really forcing the movement through the joint and through the muscles that we're trying to stretch, which is gonna be the lats, triceps, and then getting that shoulder blade itself to be able to come up around, right? Because as I'm going here, my shoulder blades are elevating and they're protracting, they're coming out and reaching, right? Same idea like when we punch, right? If we're here, we want that shoulder blade to go all the way around that rib cage. So that's what we're working on. So a couple things I like to do. Start off, we can go through here. Pretty simple one. I will like wrap my hand through, and I'll just kind of start out. And this is really, I'm just getting the lat from all the way down here, just reaching, but then I can step forward. I can really reach. Again, I'm keeping my rib cage down. I'm not just arching my back. So if you're like, oh, this is easy, pull your ribs down. Again, we can have the high anchor. This is like a gentler stretch. If we wanted to make it more intense, which, why wouldn't we? I like to go lower anchor. So lower anchor, right? Hand through. Oh my God. Jumping up and under. And now we're getting a nice active kind of stretching down. I'm actively trying to reach down my back with the band help, pulling my ribs down, and I'm there, right? And I can even try and pull out of it and then reach myself back down, pull out of it, reach myself back down. And you'll notice as you kind of pull out against the band and then reach with the band, I mean, this side feels just by that real quick, right? So that's something you can do. Again, I like the low anchor one. Anywhere along the railing's gonna be more difficult as you get down. So that's a good one, and you can really move around. You can do it facing out. You can go from the side. I recommend kind of moving around as you do this, that you can kind of build that whole range instead of just being super flexible here, having that ability. So again, like just a quick pre-retest, you can see the difference. So I'm going to go through this side now. Right, coming down, rib cage down. So I'm actively going to pull my hand down. I'm using the band to help me get lower. And then I'm pulling out of it. Aggressive. Using that band to get lower. You can see as I'm reaching down, I'm keeping my ribs down on my body. I'm not flaring them. Reach it out. Fighting the band. The closer I am to the post, the more it's going to pull me vertically down. And now, so that's a great one right there. And that's going to be very mimicking through here. So that's one you can do with that, with the band. I like that's probably your best one to get into it. All right, so one of your other exercises you can do, there's really two here. I like doing these on the ground because it really forces me to lock the lumbar spine down so that I can't arch, because if I'm doing these and I'm arching, I'm gonna fall backwards, right? So I like doing it on the ground. You could do it on a seated on a bench or something. The key with this is we're using weight. It's not gonna be like heavy. We're using weight to allow us to get deeper ranges. So think of it like enough weight to stretch you out, because you're not gonna wanna be in that position. So you having some extra weight helps you get down a little lower. And then when we are down in that deep stretch position, we're using that weight to strengthen that deep stretch position. A lot of times lack of mobility and flexibility is just because we're weak in that end range. So we want to subject that end range to some loading and get stronger down there. Your body gets allows you to play down there a lot more. So the two things, now you can do these both arms at one time or single arm. I recommend starting single arm. It's a lot easier to kind of get a little more extra range of motion. And then also you can use your other hand to kind of keep yourself honest. So first one, it's really just, you got to work a lot on reaching behind you. So through here, like I feel my lat and my tricep fighting. They don't like this position, this stretch. It's a loaded stretch, right? So we can keep it here. And then again, it's a tricep extension, but we're really working on dropping it down, and I'm reaching down my back. And as you can see, I'm kind of keeping it further behind me. Then really reaching down. Think of this as more of a flexibility movement. Just right through there. Again, you could go right side, I could go left side, coming down. Right, if I was to arch my lower back, I'd feel that, right? So reaching up, and I think about it's helpful to think about reaching my elbow to the sky. And again, we're using weight. It's a strengthening exercise, but we're really milking that stretch. So again, I'm trying to give you a lot of things you can do to where you're putting your hands back behind you, right? So getting this, you could also go just shoulder press, right? This one's gonna work more of your ability to get those shoulder blades to be able to move up and down that upper thoracic. A lot of times when we're shoulder pressing, people are out front. Shoulder blades aren't doing anything, they're just pumping it out. I want you to think about reaching up and back. So again, you could lock it down. You can see I'm reaching up behind my body. And what my shoulder blades are doing is, again, they're elevating and they're moving forward around my rib cage as I'm doing it. So we want good shoulder blade function because that's gonna allow us to reach, turn, all this stuff. All right, so I saved this one for last. So this is internal rotation of the shoulder, right? So a lot of times, you know, we have external rotation. You've probably seen this with band work. That's fine. But if we need to reach back behind us, hands behind the back, whatever it is, that's internal rotation of that shoulder. So some things to think about when doing this, when you're doing this stuff, you could just mix in, get here. You could do some stretching. You could try and reach up. You could try and have somebody help you where you're reaching upward with the backhand and they're pulling you down here. Be gentle with it, especially if you're really tight. Don't be over aggressive with this. There's a lot of small muscles in here. Gentle, slight uncomfortable, not discomfort. More is not better with that. Another thing you can do with this, it's called the sleeper stretch. So it's just like if you're putting somebody in a sleeper hold, you're down on your side. Again, ribs are down. You want this about 90 degrees offshoot from your body. Whatever you do with the wrist is fine. We're not bending at the wrist. You're more grabbing the radial ulna, right around the wrist. You want to keep your shoulder on the ground. You can put something on your head or not, but all you're going to do is just slowly, right? Like about there's where I feel it. But I could just hang out here. Biggest thing, you don't want to have my shoulder popping off. So wherever you're at, just hang out there, kind of lean into it, just like, again, like you're putting somebody in a sleeper hold. We're going to come down. Once you kind of find that tension, like it doesn't like this, I want to apply some pressure back into my hand, so I'm actively trying to push up against it, maybe 5-10 seconds. Then I'm going to try and give myself a little bit closer to the ground. That's uncomfortable. Breathe into it. Again, we're going to push up into my hand. Any new ground that I gain, I'm not letting it go. I'm just taking ground, I'm advancing. There it is. I'm holding, maintaining my line, and then I'm pushing up against this top hand. Manual resistance, about 5-10 seconds, and then I'm slowly working my way down. Again, this is one you don't, and then come out of it easy because you're asking the muscles to do a lot of different things there. But that's a good one. I mean, I'm way higher, right? And then you would obviously do both sides. So that's another good one for internal shoulder rotation. So I ran through kind of two foam roller things you can do there, 5 minutes. The band, 5 minutes. You can mix this other stuff in, either like after swimming or, maybe like later on in the day. You can add weight to that. Don't be afraid to add weight. Just understand it's not like a tricep building exercise. It is a overhead extension, but it's more about we're trying to hit that end range because we're trying to get flexibility for your hands behind your head and over your head. That's kind of the goal here, not to build muscle mass like a traditional overhead extension. You can do that single arm or double arm. And then I would do some sleeper stretches either earlier on in the workout or finish with it. All this stuff with the stretches you can do with a partner. Sometimes it's easier because they can kind of count it down and kind of feel your range of motion as long as you're not putting you in too much a new range of motion. We don't want to damage the tissue. We just want to kind of, if your barrier is here, we just want to advance a little bit past it. You don't get any more going all the way over here other than maybe extra trauma, and that's not what we're going for. So let me know if you have questions, Max. Good luck. Keep it up, man. Proud of you.